Hello and welcome to the show. Listen, I'm so glad that you could join us today. We have a great show planned for you. You know, as I tell you, this year is about living your dreams. Live your dreams and enjoy life. That's what it's all about. If you have something that you want us to talk about, you have a story that you want to share, you know someone who has an extraordinary story, and they're ordinary people doing extraordinary things, let us know at info@tammymccottry.com. We'd love to hear from you. This week on tonight's show, I have the privilege of having a young man, Stephen McCoy. And I tell you what, he's going to share a lot about himself, and we're featuring him for Black History Month because he's the first Black in the world as the first Black deaf-blind journalist. And so I just want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy because it's coming up next.
The Cecil Williams South Carolina Civil Rights Museum is the Palmetto State's first and only museum. It honors a generation of people, Black and white, throughout the state of South Carolina who deserve to be remembered for their unselfish commitments and sacrifices. Enjoy an immersive and entertaining virtual tour. For more information, visit www.cecilwilliams.com.
Hello, everybody. It's Finkley of The Michael Finkley Show, and you're watching Gold right now. Why? You're watching The Tammy Show. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the show. I told you we've got a great show planned for you. Our guest tonight is a graduate of Essex County College in New Jersey, award-winning journalist and inspirational speaker. He was named the AT&T Black Future Maker. He's a Disney alumni, inductee, board of directors for Eyes Like Mine Incorporated, and Usher Syndrome Coalition. He has been featured in several media outlets, including CNN, Yahoo News, Hollywood Unlocked, Revolt, and others. In 2022, he was recognized as the world's first Black deaf-blind journalist. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to feature for Black History Month and to introduce to you Mr. Stephen McCoy. Come on out, Stephen.
Here we go. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for being on the show. Listen, when I heard about you, I said, I've got to have him on the show because you have a lot to share with our audience. And so that brings me to Stephen. Who is Stephen McCoy?
Who is Stephen McCoy? Stephen McCoy is a guy from North New Jersey who is caring, who is loving, who wears his heart on his sleeve, who wants to most certainly create the living just like anyone else. So that is who I am. That I have been a fearless individual. It hasn't always started that way, but I am a fearless individual in the sense of just making sure that I fight for all the things that I deserve and for others who deserve the same things, such as, you know, equal rights, equal pay, you know, the fair treatment. Those are the things that are truly important to me. So that is who Stephen McCoy is, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, Stephen, that's a lot. And as we were talking off the air before we came on the air, I asked you because you've been recognized as the world's first Black deafblind journalist. And so my first inclination is to say, what kind of emotions went through your mind when you heard that recognition?
It was surreal. It was surreal because as a person who was always hiding my disability because of the profession that I've always pursued, which was journalism and entertainment. I always read magazines. I've always studied the news and things of that nature. And I've never seen anybody like me who won hearing aids. And for me, that's where it started. It started with my hearing first before the vision started to decrease. So I felt that there was an image of what success was supposed to be. So I tried to fit in that box. I didn't feel a part of this world. I didn't feel seen. And I felt like I had to be someone else in order to be successful in the world. So when I was going to quit and retire in journalism. And I just kept going despite my disability. It was I think it was a bit dangerous in some ways because you're at these events, you're bumping into people. For me, I was not sure what was going on in my life. I didn't know what was happening. I just kind of just associated with being clumsy, but I knew it was just something. I wasn't sure if I was just stressed out, but it was just in fact that I was losing my eyesight. And when I announced, because I always said, there's one thing that I didn't do. I've always tried to put myself in a box that I felt that would actually elevate me, right? But instead, it's one thing that I didn't do, and that was just to be honest about my disability, in which I was hearing and vision impaired. In the moment that I announced that to the public, it was pretty wild. It was just all over the place. I was invited to Washington, D.C., where I accepted the U.S. Challenge coin for that milestone for making history as the world's first Black deafblind journalist. And everything that I was running from was things that I should have been running to. And I realized that all my life, it was just waiting, the universe, it was waiting for me to be able to carve out that lane for other people. So it was surreal. To answer your question, it was
Wow.
surreal.
As you're talking about this, because I want people to understand, because I did ask you off the air, I said, so are you totally blind? But I want you to talk about your syndrome, which is what you've been talking with people about. That's Usher syndrome. Tell us about it and what people really need to know.
Yes, I have Usher syndrome type 2A. There's several different types. Mine is considered a bit of the mild syndrome. Though for me, I will be honest, it has been, completely just different from what I was used to. I was diagnosed in 2019. It was just, a difficult process, a difficult pill to swallow. So just to give you the background on Usher syndrome, it's a retinal eye disease that causes hearing loss and and also vision loss as well. And when I was diagnosed, I just really didn't know what to do. We started running all of these tests because it's actually hereditary. So my mother had the trait of the Usher syndrome. My father had the trait, and that meshed together, created this amazing magic here that's on the Tammy Show. So, so I mean, it also just created that drive for me to push for more testing for when babies are born, to be able to check for these things, or even for parents who are trying to create a child and really don't know exactly what to ask for and what they should be looking for to just prevent those things from happening. But yeah, that's what Usher syndrome is. It's just a retinal eye disease. For me, a lot of people do ask, well, is it like glaucoma? Can you get the laser surgery? No, you can't. It has a lot to do with the back of the eye. So whereas though for you and I, a lot of times in our cases, there are cells in the back of our eyes that are being developed every day. That's alive every day. Mine is actually dying every day. So what I do is I take vitamins to be able to just slow that process down. From just so that I'm able to have my eyesight for as long as I can. But I
Right.
will say that I have a specialist, and Dr. Gutman, love you, and
Hey, Dr.
he
Guy.
actually told me this was in 2022, and I was just so fearful of just a lot of things, and he ran some tests throughout that year, and he informed me that I have so much like eye tissue that I would never actually go completely blind in this lifetime. What a blessing. He said that, just get a flashlight and go live your life. So as you can see, I have been doing just that.
That's
I've been on helicopters and, climbing mountains and different things of that nature. And I think it's so important because though my vision, I've seen a difference, even just last week, I see a difference in my eyesight, but I still remain optimistic. And I want to most certainly, if you're making history as the first, when I first received that U.S. Challenge coin, I said, um, at the first of anything, you have the power to set the bar as high as you like or as low as you like. And I want to set it as high. There's people like Martin Luther King, Maya Angelou, all of these amazing people that I stand on the shoulders of. I want to be able to provide shoulders for other individuals that come in behind me. So,
wow.
yeah.
Wow. And Stephen, you said said a couple of things. And so, first of all, you're a trailblazer. So, as you said, you're standing on the shoulders, but you're blazing that trail for others. Another thing that you mentioned, especially in the African American community, the Black community, is about genetics. I have sickle cell,
Really?
the trait.
Mhm.
And, I have the S trait. So when you talked about your mother having the trait, your father having the trait, and now it created Stephen with the Usher syndrome.
Yeah.
So I think it's important as I hear you talking that you talk with people about genetics and getting tested. I love the idea that you're doing that and making sure that people understand that, hey, especially in our community, that you've got to get tested. If you're going to get married, see what your genes are like. See what you may have, and what you may be predisposed to. Because as you're having children, they're going to have to deal with some of the things. So I guess my question is about how do you now cope with being able, as you said, your vision, you've noticed a change in your vision. what are your coping skills for your vision right now and for your hearing?
Well, I mean, I, despite remaining optimistic, I do have a great support system, and I know that when I was first diagnosed, there was literally a transition. Of course, there were people that were in my circle that didn't know how to handle this new Stephen. I didn't know how to handle this new Stephen. I'm 35 years old, and I was 30 when I was diagnosed with Usher syndrome. So that's just the brink of, just entering a whole new level of manhood in a sense. But yeah, and there were people that went their own way, and that's because I didn't know how to literally advocate for myself. I didn't know, because I wasn't used to needing any sort of assistance, but I had to come to terms with I need to ask for what I want. And not only the things that I want, but the things that I need. And oftentimes people with disabilities, we don't exactly want to be a burden to anyone, but I definitely had to most certainly educate myself, and to also know it has to be fair to me. I mean, because those who have all of and full of their ability, they are able to assist. And if they aren't able to, then those are individuals that should not be in your circle. And some things are gonna hurt, some things are gonna be painful, because there's some people that you might have known your whole life and they're just not fitting for the new you. And what I had to come to terms is that God is not going to bless the fake version of you. So I had to accept the real me 100% completely. And when I did that, so many doors started to open for me. And with that newfound faith, that is the coping mechanism that actually allowed me to get through. And I choose to walk by faith and not by sight.
Come on, preacher. I heard you. Well, listen, Stephen, we're going to take a break and we're going to come back because I've got several things I want to ask you about. I want to talk about your podcast, want to talk about your accomplishments and all those things that you've been doing. So we're going to take a break and we're going to be right back. Okay, Stephen?
Thank you.
All right, folks, we'll be right back.
The Orangeburg County Conference Center supports downtown Orangeburg and our surrounding communities. The 6,000 plus square foot space is ideal for groups of up to 400 people attending corporate meetings, conventions, workshops, and special events. Conference Center staff are inspired to ensure that everyone can enjoy the modern amenities. State-of-the-art ballroom that accommodates up to 400 guests banquet style and 430 guests theater style. A warming kitchen with hot boxes, ice machine, refrigerator, freezer, and counter space. A lobby that accommodates 150 guests with special events outdoors. The comfortable outdoor amphitheater has a video wall and seating. Adjacent to the amphitheater is 12,000 plus square feet of green space that extends events outside, plus complimentary on-site event parking and additional parking across the street. Your event can take place all in one spectacular location. We welcome your special event in Orangeburg.
Greetings. This is Chief Fode, a gentleman Saray of the Gun Nation of North America, and you are now tuned in to the Tammy Show.
Okay.
Welcome back to the show. Well, listen, we are talking with Stephen McCoy. Thank you, Stephen. He's back.
Yep.
And if you're just joining us, as I said, I'm featuring Stephen during Black History Month. He's the world's first Black deafblind journalist, and he's an award-winning journalist. Thank you for joining me, Stephen, and for coming back on the show. You know,
Absolutely. Thank you for having me once again.
Oh, thank you, Stephen. So, Stephen, when I heard you, and this is, I'm going to ask this question first before we move into your podcast and talking about that. One of the things that I heard you say was that people will leave you or left you because they didn't understand. And then also that you had to ask for help and you had to really come to grips with with the Usher syndrome and what you were going through. Talk about your mental health and how aware are you with your mental health, and what are you doing to keep yourself from saying, you know what, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to keep going. What do you do to keep yourself motivated?
Yes. The things that I do to keep myself motivated is by doing the things that I love, doing the things that I never thought I would ever do. I choose to engage in the community of where I am invited, where I am welcome. And um, my whole thing is just bridging that gap between disabled and abled individuals. For me, it was not exactly an easy, because literally it's a grief. You're grieving. You're grieving the
Mm-hmm.
loss of your eyesight. You're grieving the loss of your hearing, the things that you've had for 30 years, for the most part, knowingly, you're grieving that. So for me, it took a, a lot of time. I would say, I think they said it's like about different stages of grief. And
Yes.
for me, one of them, believe it or not, was it was confusion. It was sadness. It was anger.
Mm.
Me wanting other people to pretend like nothing was wrong. Me, because from my vision, it is for the most part night blindness. So I would need more light. More light never hurts for me. So when going to visit family and they know of this Usher syndrome, I would want them to always just have the light on and ready by the time I came in. And
Mm-hmm.
one family member said to me, "Stephen, this is not the red carpet. You have to let us know when to," because and honestly, the family member was right, because they've known me probably longer than I know myself, So I mean, it just, you have to advocate for yourself. It's so important. So throughout this journey, I've connected with so many different people, support groups, with different organizations, and I never thought. I just always thought it was me, and me, one in a million, in a way. And I never knew there was other people that was truly going through what I was going through, and a little sometimes worse, because I've
Mm.
met many individuals who are completely blind or completely deaf, and they have to communicate in various forms through technology, through ASL, or it's really surreal. I just never thought. I know it sounds a bit insane in a way, that I just truly always thought with me. As a child, I developed selective mutism, so I didn't speak publicly. I always just was afraid to speak in my classroom, and people didn't really understand fully. I was just afraid to get picked on. I would get bullied. People would
Mm-hmm.
pull out my hearing aids and all of these sorts of things. But through that, uh, through my place of solitude, and I was able to start writing, and I fell in love with vocabulary and writing stories. The teacher would say only write 2 paragraphs, and here I am writing 5 paragraphs. Yeah, it was literally like that, and they
Wow.
couldn't put their finger on it. Like, what is something interesting about this child? And it's just when that developed my love for journalism, and I think I just had that gift for writing. Even during my punishment, like if I needed a little discipline, I would actually be. My mother would have me study the dictionary, 12 words out the dictionary, and I would have to actually memorize them by that Friday. And if I don't, I do not get off of punishment. So,
Oh, no, come
so
on, really?
yeah, so it paid out in the long
Wow.
run. But
Wow. You know what, Michael? I mean, you know what? When you said that, Stephen, it reminded me as you know, growing up, having to learn all of this vocabulary and having to write 50 times one
yeah,
word. So I'm glad your mother did that, because for you to be an award-winning journalist, that means you had to have something in you. That means that you had to be able to create and express yourself, and to be able to win different awards and all. That is commendable, everything that you've been doing. So my question is, you have accomplished a lot. What have you not done that you'd like to do now?
ooh, I love that question. 'Cause there's so many different things that I would love to accomplish. Right now, I'm working on animation film where I'm consulting, and I can't wait to be able to share this amazing news, because when y'all hear about it, y'all would be like, "That is it. It would make it's gonna make perfect sense." So, and it does. And I'm so glad that I was tapped on the shoulder by this amazing production company. And toward the summer, I think you guys will be able to hear about it, but I'm not allowed to,
Yeah, you
but
can't say
um,
anything,
yes,
but
I'm looking forward to publishing my book. I
mhm.
also am, I've just formed my nonprofit called Spoken Heroes. Myself and my business partner, we formed this nonprofit, and it's such a beautiful thing of how the story behind it, because my business partner, he was doing some work like data analytics and things for me and my company, and he started to come with me to different events. And I just, in the midst of it, I was just like, I really just think I'm just so tired of this. I don't really feel like this is gonna work. He believed in a vision. He went to go through the state of New Jersey to become my official SSP, which is a support service provider. So
Mhm.
he's initially my extra eyes and ears. And
Mm.
together, our nonprofit is literally a representation of us to bridge that gap between disabled and abled individuals. So even our interns with different universities, there be SSPs for our spoken heroes. And
Wow.
it's beautiful because oftentimes disabled individuals who might be teenagers, they'll have an SSP who might be older than them, and they don't want us older people to be coming with them to the mall. They
Right.
want also someone who's their age. So
Age.
we want to be
Mhm.
able to offer that experience, and also teaming up with different employers to train them, like sensitivity training, to be
Wow.
able to, when we team up with these individuals, they're going to be hired, and these employees will be able to have that training to know how to work with people with disabilities. So
Mm.
these are the things that we've been pushing. We've teamed up with different tech companies that has agreed to distribute technology. So there's even a organization and tech company that offers even glasses, right? So these glasses, it has a camera on it, where it has face recognition. So let's say if you're with your a family member, you actually can store their faces in your glasses and it says their name. So if you can't see them and you're kind of looking around, it would say
Pick it
Tammy.
up.
It would do it.
Wow.
So it's so many,
Wow.
technology is an ever evolving
Yes.
industry. So we're excited about this as well. So
Wow, Stephen, I'm excited about everything that you're doing. So tell us about Sessions with Stephen.
yes, Sessions with Steven, my baby. Sessions with Steven was created under my company, Spoken Entertainment, and it was literally strategically done because I always wanted to be able to. It was like my coming out. I I've always done interviews in the past, very structured, especially me starting out with the Walt Disney Company. I love Disney, and I was totally, they allowed me to be who, myself, but there was certain things that, such as my personal story, that I wanted to allow to come out,
Mhm.
even with my disability. So I've had many different celebrity guests that come onto my show. A lot of them, they have seen me as an intern. So that's why you have high profile celebrity guests that comes onto my show, because they're like, wait a minute, are you talking about Steven the
Stephen, the
intern?
intern.
Of course I do his show. So it became like that. They know me for so many years, and they've known even during the times when I would have to bring them coffee, but I couldn't talk to them and things of
Right.
that nature. So, but I was already used to not talking. So, I mean, it was cool with me. I was on a mission here, but it's beautiful now today to be able to get that support. So,
Mhm.
whenever I do decide, hey, let's call up Kelly Rowland. Let's see what we can do. Let's see if we can do an interview. Or it's beautiful to be able to have that respect in
Yeah.
the business that I had to work really hard for. The business that I had to take out my hearing aid to pretend to be someone that I truly wasn't. I really didn't know that I always thought of myself as a person who I've always been a leader, which I know I always have been, but I didn't realize that me taking out my hearing aid, which is originally, that's one of my capes. That's what I always
Mm.
call it. If you're gonna
Mhm.
be, you have to have your superpowers, and your things like your hearing aid are your cape. So I need my hearing aids to be able to soar in the world, to be able to excel in anything that I do. So that's what I try to do through my show Sessions with Steven, to just push for innovation and telling those beautiful stories that we not always get a chance to hear. So
Wow. Well, and Stephen, your story is just beautiful. I mean, I'm sitting here like I could talk to you all night, because just listening to you and how you are so inspiring. And that's why it says here award-winning journalist and inspirational speaker, not motivational so much, inspirational. And I mean, I just enjoyed listening to you and all that you're doing. And so, Stephen, that brings me to my question about your challenges.
mhm.
When I talk about the podcast and your interviews,
Mhm.
what was one of the most challenging interviews, if any, that you had?
Challenging. Well, I'm glad that you didn't ask about Beth, because it's just like it's been so many, but challenging. I would say my the first time that I was invited to Los Angeles. We all have that dream of flying out to Los Angeles and interviewing the highest of the highest
Mhm.
celebrity. And this time, I've experienced racism and I had to step back for a minute, and it was very tough because when it was time for me to check in, I'm like, "Hi, I'm Stephen McCoy. Yeah, I'm just checking in," and they're like, look me up and down. You're Stephen McCoy? Yeah, the one that flew all the way from New Jersey, to California. And
Right.
they made it. They said that I wasn't confirmed. They looked, and at this point, I was able to see over the counter, and I'm like, "There's my name," just to show you how far my vision has kind of like decreased. I was able to spot anything, honestly, but yeah, once I finally made my way in a room, I had a confirmed interview with this actress who was one of my favorite actresses. And when we got in the room, they did inform me that I would not be doing a one-on-one interview, which I was already confirmed. I showed them the email. They wanted to do a round table sort of thing, and I was the only Black individual journalist that was there. And everyone was being absolutely very cool. And I'll be honest, I've never experienced this type of treatment before. And even the actual actress, she watched because she was also white, and she saw how everyone was treating me, and it seemed as though that she took part in that as well. So it was kind of that was one, and also just from 2 years ago, which that was a tough one where I was confirmed for a red carpet, an award show that came to my town, North New Jersey, and I asked for accommodation. I asked for assistance to my spot on the red carpet because, of course, I'm aware of that I have to advocate for myself. And we're at a stadium, so it's different. Going downstairs is a little bit tough in the dark. So I wanted just for someone just to assist me to my feet, and they revoked my credentials. They told me after that 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 my name was similar to someone else's, and they didn't. It was a mistake that was made. Oh my God. So yeah, so I spent about maybe 2 years trying to fight this, but they were indeed redeemed too powerful. So I just spend my time most certainly just fighting for those who deserve to be fought for. We all have dreams, and we all deserve to be able to just go to work, because that has taken a lot of my joy out of my work. The fact that by the time when I'm doing the podcast and I'm interviewing someone that I actually love and admire, I'm kind of tired at that point, because I have to fight more than most of our peers. Because I'm a disabled individual, they just don't see us as a normal individual, and we are. It's just, everybody is prone to actually becoming disabled. We're human beings, so these are our bodies. Our bodies are made to decrease, or even whether it's natural or through an accident or through surgery or anything like that, where no one is exempt from any of those things. So I always just try to implement that knowledge just so that we'll all be able to just have that same vision, that we can come together despite our disability, despite our sexual orientation, despite our color, the color of our skin. I'm a person, I love everybody. I want all of us to come together. And I believe we truly can, and we can truly make a difference together. So,
Wow, Stephen. Stephen, I tell you what, I look at you as the hero to the unsung, to the folks that you don't know. And as we say, to the underdogs, and I'm not, and I don't want to use that word so that people don't understand. What I'm saying is, like you said, there are people that are disabled who people don't look at, they don't see. And it's unfortunate. And I love what you said, that you love people, because I love people too. We could talk all night. I love people. And I love the fact that you're out there making a difference.
Thank you.
And you should see more disabilities. We all have disabilities, whether we want to admit it or not. You see what I'm saying? And just like you said, whether you're declining in your health, age, accident, we're going to get there. Somebody's going to have something, unfortunately. And we just pray that they don't. But if they do, then who's going to be the person that's fighting for them? And that's you, Stephen.
Thank you so much. I really
That's you. Listen, I want to ask you, I've already found out what's next, because you've got TV, animation, book, all of this, the 501c3, everything happening. What do you want people to glean from this interview?
I would like for them to, what I would like for them to take from this is that we are all just people, we are all just people. And I just hope that if you are in what is considered to be an abled individual, don't be afraid to be an ally. Don't be afraid to speak up. And also always assume that maybe almost everyone is disabled. And the reason why I say that is because, someone can make a mistake and bump into you. Don't react so quickly and think that they may be doing it on purpose. Give that moment a few seconds or a minute to kind of, before you actually react, because you never know what someone is going through. You never know. So I would hope that people can be able to display empathy, display love, and be kind to yourself more. Because I really believe if you're kind to yourself more, you'll definitely reflect that on the next person, despite the fact if someone was to, bump into you or anything like that. So be kind to yourself, love yourself, and make sure you follow me at Stephen McCoy on Instagram.
Listen, we're going to follow you. Willie's going to show all of your handles. You're on Instagram, Stephen McCoy. You're on Facebook, and your 501c3.
Yeah.
The name of that is Spoken Heroes, correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Spoken Heroes. And you are with Spoken Entertainment. And so, right. Stephen, what are the 3 words that describe you, Stephen?
Ooh, the 3 words that describes me. I think of fair. I think of love and passion.
Fair, love, and passion.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it right here. Stephen McCoy. Fair, love, and passion.
That's right.
Oh, Stephen, thank you. Look at that. Wow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure having you on, Stephen. If there's anything that we can do here on the Tammy Show to help you, help your nonprofit, please let us know. Let's stay in touch, Stephen.
Thank you. I will send the invitation to our launch party when we are ready to get that kicked off.
Please, please, please. I would love that, Stephen. Okay, you take care of yourself.
You
and
too.
God bless you,
so
Stephen.
much.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, you heard it right here. Stephen McCoy. I tell you what, fair, love, passion. Those are the 3 words that describe him. If you want to follow him, as he said, you go to his Instagram, which is Stephen McCoy, and his Facebook page, again, which is Stephen McCoy. I enjoyed having Stephen on. And of course, viewers, I want to thank you for being on the Tammy Show and joining us tonight. Next week, I have a riveting conversation with none other than Dr. Benjamin F. Chavis Jr., civil rights icon. So I'm excited about that. It's coming up next week. I want to thank my producers, Alicia, assistant producers, Tiana and Willie. Thank you all so much. Remember, subscribe to the Tammy TV Show. Hit that red button so that it can notify you. That's the Tammy TV Show. Let us be a blessing to somebody today and every day. Thank you again for joining us. And until the next time, take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
Coming up on the next Tammy, I'll be talking with Reverend Dr. Benjamin Chavis Jr., civil rights icon, award-winning journalist, entrepreneur, global business leader, educator, chemist, and the producer and host of the Chavis Chronicles.